Here's the magic number. He has played in 64 games this year. They have 3 remaining. Remember, the season ends on Sunday. He needs to play at least 20 minutes in one of San Antonio's 3 remaining games to reach the 65-game threshold that is required for NBA season awards. Again, you'll see them tomorrow night against the Trailblazers on ESPN. We don't know whether or not we will see Wembanyama, and that obviously is a major question here. The 65-game rule has come up a lot in conversation this season because it's going to impact a lot of important players, and now it impacts Wembanyama. What do we say about it?
Well, first and foremost, we'll see how serious this injury is. He still has a couple of days if they have to get him into a game. The Sunday game against Denver might not even matter to anybody. And if you can play him in that game, I think the motivation would be to do that. But in the end, as we've talked about this a lot this season, you've got Luka, you've got Anthony Edwards, Cade Cunningham. These are all players that should be all NBA players, some of them in the MVP conversation, that won't be because of this rule. But I was once a voter when I was a beat writer, and I feel like you still have to give the voter a discretion of whether or not a guy is close enough. We made this rule not because you want to punish somebody because of injury. We made this rule because you had to make sure players were playing enough games. And that was a problem. So I still say leave it up to discretion of the voter, but rules are rules.
Shump, that's the question. There are going to be people who are going to say that the rule is making some of these postseason awards look ridiculous. If you don't have Cade Cunningham and you don't have Luka and you don't have Wembanyama and any of these teams, they need to get rid of the rule. What do you say?
Hey, man, pick a side. Either get rid of the rule or don't get rid of the rule. I'll tell you one thing about rules. My father gave me rules in the house, so I couldn't live there. I know how to follow rules. They told me when I started playing basketball, if you take more than 2 steps, that's a travel. That's a rule. I don't like it. Sometimes I needed 3 or 4 steps. Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So what I see is the NBA, if you're going to crack down. But if you're going to scrap it, scrap it. Either way, you can't have players thinking about that because then everything's going to become an argument.
See, I was totally in favor of the 65-game rule because of all the reasons we talked about ad nauseum here.
The tanking.
You want the players to stop, the tanking, the load management, all of that sort of thing. But the bottom line of it is there also is going to be something pretty ridiculous if we look at the All-NBA teams at the end of the season. And what feels like half of the obvious best players in the NBA aren't on it.
But one of your best abilities is your availability, right?
Yeah.
And your durability as well. And so give credit to those who will be on the All-NBA teams that you might say, well, they didn't have a better season than this player or that player. But you know what they did? They played in more games. They got to the threshold. You've got some guys that are in the 70-plus games. That should count for something in the NBA that you are available to your team.
That's actually an interesting point there. The availability is part of the greatness.
Without a doubt, it's one of those things that if I was one of those guys this whole summer that, I wasn't one of the top guys, but I worked my ass off and I made sure that I went to every weightlifting session and I did all my training stuff and I was able to play 70 games and I do get that honor. It's like, this is what it's about. Having that discipline and being able to do that. Sometimes it's going to take a little bit of luck at the same time because it's an NBA season. But, hey, when you come out at the end, you got to say, hey, man, I did the rule.
We shouldn't change a rule because of an outlier season. Let's not get crazy about it. The reason why they made this rule was to make sure players played a certain threshold. This was not an issue until this year when it just so happened you've had a couple of injuries impact some players.
Yeah, really important injuries.
The main guys. And for Wembanyama, they were controlling him all season anyway. Right? So this was 65 wasn't a given for him. And he still could get it, though.
I think he's going to make sure.
You think he'll get out and play one of these games?
Without a doubt. From all the interviews that he's done, I totally believe that Victor Wembanyama is going to find a way to play 20 minutes. Yeah, figure it out. 20 minutes to sit me down.
Yeah, we'll see. He's got the left rib contusion. We'll find out more today about the significance of the injury. We're back on Get Up. We're brought to you by America's Best Eye Care and Eyewear. Thousands of doctors focused on 2 things, your eyes. And Peter Schrager is back, and he has his eyes on the NFL draft. He's got his mock draft available today. And the way that Peter does these, and I love it, not picking who he would pick, but picking who he's hearing is likely to go in the various places. And the first one I look at is number 4. Talk to me, Peter, about the Titans and Jeremiah Love.
As a labor of love here, this is weeks of texts and conversations at the league meetings and the combine, and Jeremiah Love keeps on coming up to 4, Tennessee for me. Look, this is a guy who had 1,400 yards and 18 touchdowns last year. He also could play receiver if needed. This is one of those picks where you say value and position be damned. We are trying to get over the top and trying to be a difference maker. This is a blue chip prospect and maybe the number 1 overall rated player in this entire draft. Tennessee at 4, rare for a running back, yet everyone I'm speaking to is like, that's what we're hearing.
Yes, and I'm hearing it as well, and I believe many people believe he's the best player in the draft. But Dominique Foxworth, if you're a team that has a lot of holes, does it make sense to take a running back with the 4th pick in the draft?
Well, if you have a lot of holes in the O-line specifically, I think it probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But I think the point that Peter was making that's a good one is that this draft is different and every draft is different. And if there are blue chip, like standout, future Hall of Fame potential players relative to other players that aren't at different positions, even positional value, I think, comes into question in situations like that. I'm not sure that it makes a lot of sense for the Titans, but I get it from like a value standpoint. If he's the best player in the draft at a position that's important, I think you kind of have to take seriously the chance that the Titans will take him.
2 numbers stand out to me. 41 games played at Notre Dame, so that tells me he should be able to come in right away and pass protect. No head coach is going to allow a rookie running back to play Greeny unless they can pass protect. And 63 catches. Peter alluded to it. A lot of teams feel like he can play wide receiver. You want to help Cam Ward develop, get the ball out of his hands, run the ball, cut down passing attempts for Cam Ward. This is an ideal pick for the Titans.
The other number that jumps out, 0 fumbles.
Yep.
So the kid doesn't ever turn the ball over. Peter, next, you do not have Ty Simpson going in round 1.
Yeah, this is not a knock at Ty Simpson. I don't have a team for Ty Simpson. So whereas others are making these fictional trades to get back into the first round and moving back, the teams that make sense would be the Jets and Arizona. Ty Simpson's not going 2 or 3. They have the 33 and the 34 picks. They can wait and take him there. I don't see Cleveland taking him, and I made this mistake last year. I didn't have any team that wanted Shedeur Sanders in the first round, but in my mock draft, I put him to Pittsburgh because I was like, he's got to go in the first. You start doing these mental gymnastics and creating scenarios in your head. That's where you get in trouble with these mock drafts. Ty Simpson might be a very good player. He might be the number 1 quarterback in this draft, according to some. I don't have him in the first round right now, and there's still 3 weeks to the draft.
I'd be shocked if he go in the first round, and here's why. A number of teams see him as a very good quarterback and the 5th-year option because of how expensive quarterbacks are in their extensions. Last year, we saw the Giants move up to 25 with Jackson Dart. Several years ago, we saw Lamar Jackson get traded up by the Ravens to number 32.
Yeah.
So be it Arizona or the Jets, top of the 2nd, maybe they slide into that 25 area the way the Giants
That's what
did.
Peter's talking about, is that maybe they wait there. The Jets have 33 and 44, so maybe they move up. It's not a coincidence that the owners' meetings happen. All of you insiders talk to all of the people, and you all come out, and every single one of you says the same thing. I don't have a team for
I like
Ty
the
Simpson.
player.
Yeah.
I don't have a team, and I'm not going to do the readers or the viewers an injustice and just make up a trade. Like, I don't see a team for him right now.
And the point I'm making is I'm hearing that everywhere I go. I mean, no one can find a spot for Ty Simpson. Would you take him? Would you make a move, Neek? If you're just use the Jets as a straw man here. You've got 33 and 44. Are you willing to give up a little bit of capital to get that 5th year? That's really what the decision they'd be making, as Tannenbaum is saying.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the first question is, do you believe he actually can be a franchise quarterback? If you think that's the case, I think the example that stands out is obviously Lamar Jackson. Is you move up to do that because you thought he had the potential of being great and other people missed it. I don't think you trade those picks to move up for a long shot. If you think that there's a chance that he might be good, that's one thing. But if you think that, well, we don't know, we'll give it a shot, I think you're wasting picks for teams that I think need a lot of players, and 2nd, 3rd round picks are picks that play for your roster pretty quickly.
Greeny, here is a grand slam scenario for your Jets. Let's say they take a pass rusher at 2, a receiver or a corner at 16, and then they trade up for Ty Simpson, and let's say he's a B+. They're going to go into next year's draft with 3 first-round picks, and let's say they don't need a quarterback. Those 3 ones would be extremely valuable, and now you're really setting yourself up.
But he brought up an important point there, Neek. Neek did. And, Peter, do teams that you talk to like Ty Simpson, or do they love Ty Simpson? Because that's the point. You're going to draft a quarterback in the first round. You're going to trade, whatever the case may be. You have to have made up your mind. This guy can be our quarterback for a decade.
As much as it feels like there's no quarterbacks in the NFL, every team basically has a quarterback they're speaking for. You're not taking a first-round quarterback and putting him in the bench and saying, well, he's our 2nd quarterback, unless you really see a torch being passed. When the Rams traded that 29th pick, that was another suitor that was off the board. They like Ty Simpson. I've made this mistake before. Shedeur, Will Levis, Malik Willis, you name the names, where you try to force them into the first round. Sometimes there's just not teams looking for quarterbacks.